Good morning, YouTube, and welcome back to Fernvalley Farm's YouTube channel. Where on this channel we are so country. We're doing something a little bit different besides beekeeping and horses. It's related. We're getting the garden ready for the spring. It's January. It's about 8 degrees right now, but there's no wind, so it's not too bad. Big snowstorm supposedly coming later, but you know how that goes. Every time they say a big snowstorm's coming, you get ready for it, and nothing happens. What I'm doing here is I'm getting the garden ready for winter. I want to just do a really quick video on this. Putting compost on your garden is great. It helps everything grow. You get better tomatoes, peppers, whatever you're growing in your garden is great. But the trick to this is don't put it on when it's hot. This is horse manure. Obviously, we got a horse farm here. This is horse manure. You could actually go to a treatment plant in town and you can get septic, you know, people stuff. You can go there and get buckets of that if you want and put that on your garden. I know it sounds gross, right? You can do horse manure, cow manure, chicken manure supposedly works really great. I had a friend of mine a few years ago. They came and cleaned out my chicken house. They scraped everything off the ground and they used it in their garden. They said chicken manure is great for a garden. I've never used it, and I'm sure it is. But anything like that is really good for your garden. But here's the trick. Don't buy it in the spring or put it on fresh, till it into your garden, and it's not growing stuff. I'm not saying it's not going to work, but the trick is you want to do it now in the wintertime, so that's why they call it compost. So it composts and it breaks down. You can see some of this over here. It's got snow on it because it snowed, obviously, and it all melted on top of it. But the trick to this is to put this on now, let it snow, let it rain, so when spring gets here, it'll all be broken down. Because here's the thing, the acid in the urine is too hot. If you put this on fresh in your garden in the spring and till it in, and here again, I'm not saying it's not going to work, but the urine is too hot. You want that to break down and go away. You want the manure. You can see there's some straw, there's some hay in there. There's when I bed the horses, I use shavings. So you can see there's bedding in there. There's shavings. That's what the horses lay on in their stall. Manure. But the urine and the acid in the urine is what you want to dissipate and go away. That's what makes it too hot for your garden if you put it on fresh in the spring and then till it in and grow stuff. And like I said, I'm not saying it's not going to work, but you're much better off doing it this way. In this garden here, I've done this a couple times already, and this will just sit here all winter. I've got a couple more. I've got a little more area right there, and you can see this garden isn't really that big, and it's big enough for us. I just like doing tomatoes. I do bell peppers, jalapenos. I've got asparagus over there, peppers, zucchini. What else do we put in here? It kind of changes every year, but basically we only do tomatoes. We'll do cucumbers. That's what that wire is for. They can climb up the thing, and the cucumbers can hang. So we don't do a whole lot of stuff, and then we can it actually. Like the tomatoes, we can. I love canning all my tomatoes. Either I can them whole, or I can them, or I smash them all up and cook them down and can them that way. Then you've got tomatoes. I keep them in the basement in a cool, dry spot, and they stay fresh. And you could can, and you could sit there for years as long as it's sealed properly. That's a whole nother video on canning, but. When we do our garden, I do 2 or 3 rows of tomatoes, and usually you can go to any store. Like I always talk about Menards, they put tomatoes on sale in the spring. In the spring, you get like 6 plants for like $1.99, and they're the big boys, or you can get any kind of different tomato. But I'll usually put those right there, and then I just tell all the neighbors, if you want tomatoes, just come get them. Because usually we have tomatoes growing like weeds. I mean, the plants get this tall. The manure is great for all that stuff. So I just tell the neighbors, you want tomatoes, don't call and ask, just come get them. I have plenty of them. And nothing beats fresh tomatoes out of the garden, or cherry tomatoes. I usually grow like 1 cherry tomato plant, because that's usually plenty. You get a million of them little things. And actually when they lay on the ground, and they'll just pop up automatically from the seeds, because they'll fall and they'll just lay there. And you can see, it's kind of hard to see, but you can see old tomatoes just laying there that fell and just kind of fell apart, and we just left them sit there. Those plants will actually come back up and grow automatically. But we take the rototiller and till it all in. So all this manure, I've got a little bit more room here. I'm going to put probably 3 or 4 more wheelbarrows, because when I clean the horses' stalls in the morning, I come out here and dump it. It's January. This thing won't get tilled up till probably like May. up here, up in the north. We're in northern Illinois. Just to give you an idea where we're at, we are about 70 miles east of Chicago up here. So my birthday is in the middle of May, and that's about the time that I usually use as a guideline to plant my garden. That's about when I do it, about middle of May. I'll get my tomato plants in, I'll get my peppers in, and you'll notice that stuff really doesn't start to grow until the ground really warms up, and then all of a sudden it takes off. And the manure works great. So if you know somebody who's got a farm, whether it's cows, chickens, horses, whatever, if you can get their manure now, in like January, up here anyways, depending on where you live, I don't know how it works in the other climates, like down south or out west. Way up north, your growing season starts later than ours. So it depends on where you live, but up here in the northern Illinois, about May you can start planting your garden. This year we had a really bad year. It kept raining and raining and raining. Like our zucchini never came up. It just got too wet. And what happens is the seeds just rot in the ground. So those didn't even come up this year. Cucumbers came up. Tomatoes, I had tons of tomatoes. Like I said, I just give them to the neighbors. So anyways, if you can get yourself some manure now, put it on the garden, let it just break down. Let it snow, let it rain, it'll all break down. And then in the spring, when you're ready to till this in, it's ready to go. And this looks like a whole lot, but when you till all this in with all this is all black dirt in here. This is really nice stuff. When you till all that in, you can't even tell I put all this in there. Just nice, big, fluffy black dirt, and it grows everything great. So that's just kind of my little tip. Get yourself some, if you want to have a really good garden, I mean, you don't have to do this, but this just really helps. But if you do it now. Don't wait until spring. Till it in, put your stuff on there. The urine is too hot. The acid in the urine is just too hot. This is the best way to do this. So anyways, just a quick little tip on getting your garden ready for spring. I want to think about spring, right? It's like 8 degrees right now. No wind, so it's not too bad, but it's kind of cold. Get my garden ready, a few more lows, and I'll just leave it sit there. It'll get snowed on, it'll just sit, and then I will till it in the spring. So that's it, just a quick little tip on getting your garden ready for spring. Get your manure, let it sit, till it all in. Hopefully you like this video. If you do, please subscribe to the channel. Hit this little button right here. Hit that little button right there. When you do subscribe, hit the little bell right next to that subscribe button. You'll get notifications every time one of these videos comes out. Like I always say, thanks for watching. I appreciate my new subscribers. You know who you are. Tell all your friends, family, subscribe to the channel. Horses, beekeeping, all country type stuff on this channel. So YouTube, I will talk to you guys soon. All right, bye.